Hello everyone, welcome to the lecture series on VLSI design. So in the previous lecture we had discussed on some of the different types of MOS logics or MOS logic circuits, like we had looked into the NMOS logic, and then we had looked into CMOS logic, and then we had looked into BiCMOS logic. And taking these three as base, we had compared in terms of inverter, NAND gate, and then NOR gate. So which type of logic is better for which type of gate, that we had discussed in the previous lecture. So in today's lecture we shall look into some more logics where we can reduce the number of transistors in terms where we can reduce the area of design in terms of transistors. Okay, but this won't be affecting any logic in terms of functionality, but the number of transistors will be reduced. So in this lecture we are going to understand pseudo NMOS logic, dynamic NMOS logic, and then domino logic. So pseudo NMOS logic. Okay, let us recap our previous lecture where we had looked in terms of the NMOS logic structure. So this is basically the NMOS logic what we are having over here. Okay, so here actually we are giving the input, and the pull-up region is in terms of depletion mode NMOS transistor. Okay, now if you look at this particular thing, this particular NMOS logic what we were having here, we were supposed to go in terms of ratioed logic. So that is nothing but the length is to width ratios for pull up and then pull down region are going to be different, and that is going to vary in terms of design. Okay, so even if we look at this particular thing, since it is a depletion mode NMOS transistor, this transistor is going to be turned on all the time. So since it is an NMOS logic, what I can do is that I can make use of my PMOS logic over here instead of depletion mode NMOS. So we have come up with this PMOS. So if we connect this particular thing to ground, so that this PMOS will be turned on all the time. Okay, so when it is turned on all the time, the output capacitance what we will be having, suppose if we are having a capacitor over here, so this particular capacitor will be pre-charged. Okay, so that it will be pre-charged to VDD. Suppose if your VDD is 3.3 volt, then it will be charged to 3.3 volts. If it is 5 volt, then it will be pre-charged to 5 volt. So hence the name, since it is uh, derived from our NMOS logic, and since it is a little changes have been made to this NMOS logic, hence the name pseudo NMOS logic. Okay, so let us look into some of the examples. So if we look at our pseudo NMOS logic, our pull-up region has been will be a PMOS transistor which is connected to ground, so that it is turned on all the time, and the logic what we'll be having, that will be present in our pull down region. So if you look at this particular circuit, this is our inverter circuit. Since pull up is connected to ground, and then we'll be having a pull down region. So in pull down region we'll be having a one single transistor, that is our NMOS transistor, and then we'll be applying the voltage. So let us look into the working of this particular circuit. Okay, so if I apply 0 over here, so this particular transistor is off in the sense this is an open switch, and then since my PMOS is connected to ground, so this is always on. Hence, since if you look at this particular thing, since it is an open thing, so I won't get any path over here. So there is no path, hence I'll be getting a path which is connected to a VDD, so that the charge what we'll be having, if we are having an output capacitor, that capacitor will be charged to VDD. Hence, if once it is completely charged to the VDD, then I'll be getting what? I'll be getting the output voltage as VDD. So hence it is considered as what? Logic 1. Now if I take a scenario where I'll be uh, applying logic 1 to my uh, NMOS input, at that time what I'll be having, this NMOS input will be what? It is going to be turned on, and then it will be acting like an closed switch. Okay, when it is acting like an closed switch, the capacitor what I'll be having, since it is pre-charged to VDD, it gets a path where it can be connected to the ground. Okay, hence the capacitor which was charged in the previous thing, it gets discharged to what? It gets discharged to 0 volt. Hence I'll be getting what? I'll be getting logic 0. Okay, so if we look in terms of different types of this is all regarding how actually the pull down region works. Okay, uh, if you look at the different examples, so these are this is an NAND gate circuit. Okay, since the for NAND gate our NMOS transistors are connected in series, and if we look at our NOR gate, all the transistors which are present in pull down region, those will be connected in parallel. So you can observe over here, this is an 3 input NOR gate where all the transistors are connected in terms of what? It is going to be connected in terms of parallel. Okay, so this is somewhat similar as we said when we are supposed to draw the schematic. So it goes in terms of CMOS logic only the thing what gets changed is our pull up region. Pull down region is going to be same in terms of schematic design and all those things. So now let us consider how to since even though we have replaced our this thing with what, even though we have replaced our depletion mode NMOS transistor with our PMOS transistor, but still the design what we are having, it is going to be a ratio design. Again we need to consider in terms of ratioing so that I can get a proper switching in terms of input and output voltage. So let us consider a scenario over here. So the V in what I am having over here, I am going to apply VDD by 2 voltage. If I have something like 5 volt over here in terms of VDD, so I'll be applying a 2.5 volt over here. So if I apply 2.5 volt, then what I'll be having is that this particular transistor is going to be turned on, and then it is going to be operated in what? This is going to be operated in our saturation region. Okay, so this is going to be in terms of what? This is going to be in terms of saturation region. So this PMOS is going to be connected all the time so that it gets a path over here. Okay, so now even this is turned on, so this is an closed switch, and then even it is turned on all the time, so again this is a closed switch. So what I'll be getting, this particular transistor, this is going to be in terms of what? It is going to be in terms of linear region. Okay, so this is going to be in terms of linear region, and then this particular PMOS will be acting like a resistor over here. So this is somewhat like this particular transistor what I'm having, this is going to be replaced in terms of resistor. A resistor is going to be connected, and then this is going to be in terms of saturation. What we are going to do, the this particular transistor is working in terms of linear region, and then this particular transistor is going to be working in terms of saturation region. What we are going to consider is that we are considering that since it is getting an open path over here, a closed path, VDD is connected directly to the ground. So what I can do is that I can equate, or I can equate the current which is passing through PMOS, and then I can equate the current passing through NMOS. I'll consider both to be same. So if you take a look at in terms of saturation current, what is the equation what we are having? we are having half mu1 Cox by 2 W by L, and then VGS minus VT whole square. But whereas here VGS minus VT into VDS by 2 what we are having. Okay, now since I'll be considering both the current equation, and then I'll be equating both the current equations, and then since I'll be having a ratio in terms of W by L over here. Okay, and then we are having in terms of current equation, even though we are having W by L over here in terms of this particular current equation, when we equate this thing, I'll consider this thing as WP by LP, and then I'll consider this as WN, and then LN, and then by equating, and then by doing a suitable rearrangement, the resultant of the expression what we can have over here is this. Okay, so I'll be getting this VI inverter is equal to VTN plus 2 mu P by mu1 raised to 1 by 2, and then minus VDD minus VTN VDSP minus VDSP square, and then whole raised to 1 by 2 divided by Z pull up and then Z pull down region. Let me take let me have these values like V inverter. Let me consider that V inverter is 0.5 VDD, and then VTN, the threshold voltage of NMOS, and then PMOS be 0.2 VDD, and then let me consider my VDD as 5 volt, and the mobility of NMOS is 2.5 times greater than mobility of my holes. If I substitute all these particular things over there in this particular equation, what I'll and then by solving those equations, what I am concentrating is that I need to concentrate on this particular thing. So I'll apply this particular V inverter voltage, and then I'll apply this VTN voltage. Okay, and then we are having this VDD voltage with us, and then we are having this VDSP voltage. Okay, so what we need is we need this particular thing, that is Z pull up by Z pull down. If I apply all these voltages, and then if I calculate this Z pull up by Z pull down, what I'll be getting is that I'll be getting Z pull up to be 3, and then Z pull down to be 1. So the ratio what we are going to get is we are going to get 3:1 over here. So my size should be 3 times more of a PMOS when it is compared with my NMOS logic. Okay, so this is how we are going to calculate in terms of how we can calculate the ratio of PMOS transistor with our NMOS transistor. Okay, so this so what we can tell is that, so what is the difference what we can have in terms of our NMOS logic and then pseudo NMOS logic. Even though my NMOS logic is also same, again we are calculating in terms of ratio thing. Again in pseudo NMOS, even though we have replaced it in terms of PMOS transistor, but still we are going to calculate this particular ratio logic. So what is the difference? So only the difference what we can have in terms of both the designs is that this particular transistor, the resistance what can be offered in terms of PMOS and then compared to my depletion mode NMOS, they are different. When the resistance offered is different, then the power dissipation is going to be different. So if you compare in terms of NMOS and then pseudo NMOS, the power dissipated across my pseudo NMOS is much more lesser when it is compared to my NMOS logics. So this is what I can have an advantage in order to shift from NMOS logic to pseudo NMOS logic. Okay, so let us look into my another circuit, that is my another logic, that is CMOS dynamic logic. So if we look at this particular diagram over here, this is what we had looked in the previous slide. So this is my pseudo NMOS logic. Okay, the problem what we were having in pseudo NMOS logic is that even though I had replaced my pull up region with PMOS, but still I need to calculate the ratio of pull up to pull down region in order to have a proper switching. So in order to overcome this, what we are having this pull up to pull down ratio, we can, in order to overcome that particular thing, we came across one more type of logic, that is dynamic logic. So in dynamic logic, so this is basically what we are having over here. We are having a pull up region with a PMOS logic, and then pull down region with the actual logic what we are having, and then it is going to be connected with what? It is going to be connected with an NMOS transistor. But these particular PMOS transistor and then NMOS transistor, they are both driven by a clock signal, or we can have something like an enable signal. Okay, so by this, since we are having this, it is going to be in terms of what? It is going to be in terms of similar to our CMOS logic. Again, I can, this is what, this is again, by this I can have a ratioless logic. Okay, so the size can be anything over here. The size, the PMOS size as well as my NMOS size, they can be anything. So this is from this particular drawback, we have come across this particular thing where I can have any size I want. So let us look into the working of this particular thing. So here basically we are having two things, okay, or two stages. One is pre-charge phase, and then one more is evaluation phase. So this pre-charge phase is that is when we have when we had applied 0 to our both the things, when our clock is 0, and when the clock is 0, then this particular transistor what I'm having over here, this is going to be an open switch since it is turned off, and then since it is a PMOS, this is going to be turned on, and then this is going to be acting like a closed switch. When I'm having an open switch over here and then I'm having a closed switch over here, since it is open over here, I don't get any path which is getting to connected to the ground. Okay, but since it is a closed switch over here at this particular path, so what I'll be getting, I'll be getting a path which is connected to VDD. So this, what it is going to do is that it is going to charge this particular load capacitance to VDD. So that I'll be getting what? I'll be getting logic 1 over here. That logic 1 in the sense it is going to be equal to VDD. Okay. Now next comes what? So in the pre-charge phase, every time my load capacitor will be pre-charged to VDD. Then the evaluation phase. So in the evaluation phase, my input is going to be 1 1 1 across all these things. If we take in terms of what, if we consider this particular example what we are having, since this is my pull up region over here and then pull down region over here, and then I have connected an NMOS, this is a circuit which is for my inverter. Now if I apply 1 over here, this is an open switch. Okay, so this is going to be a closed switch, and then again this is going to be a closed switch. Since all these transistors, these particular transistors are turned on and then my PMOS is turned off, I won't be getting any path which is connected to what, which is getting connected to VDD. But if we look at this particular thing, I'm getting a path which is connected to ground. So initially I had what, I had pre-charged this load capacitor with VDD. Now it gets a path where it can discharge to ground. Since it is getting a path to discharge to ground, then the voltage which was present in terms of VDD, it will be totally discharged, and then the left out voltage what I can have is 0 volt. That's why I'll be getting what, I'll be getting logic 0. Okay, so this is one scenario where I'm having, where I'm applying this particular voltage to be input logic 1. Now if I apply logic 0, okay, at the input end, now again what, again it is an open switch over here. Okay, this is going to be this is going to be an open switch. Okay, it's not closed, it is open. And then again this particular, since it we have applied logic 0 over here, again this is going to be an open switch. Again this is what, this is my closed switch. In the previous, in the previous pre-charge phase, actually what we had done, we had pre-charged this thing to VDD. But now if you look at this particular scenario, I don't have any path which is getting connected to VDD, and then I don't have any path which is connected to ground as well. Now this voltage what we are having, it is going to be across this particular point. I'm having a voltage of VDD, so that I'll be getting a a logic 1. But this has a drawback. Okay, that drawback is nothing but what we can call it as a leakage problem or a floating VDD. Since this particular scenario, in this particular scenario, I don't have any path which is connected to VDD, and then I don't have any path which is connecting to ground. So this particular voltage is in terms of what, it is going to be in terms of floating voltage, since it is not getting connected to anything. And since here it is getting connected over here, in the sense here if I have applied logic 0, that means I'll be connecting this particular thing to what, I'll be connecting this particular thing to ground. Okay, so when it is getting connected to ground, if there is somewhere around, let me take from ground, if I am getting somewhere around 0.8 volt, okay, this is negligible voltage. But if I get somewhere around a 0.8 volt, this might get turned on a little bit, and then I'll be getting a path where it can discharge. Okay, so when it gets a discharge point over here, okay, so what will happen, the charge which was present over here, it is going to be reduced. Now if I had taken, let me consider this as 5 volt over here. Now initially for VDD I was having 5 volt. In the pre-charge stage I was getting a 5 volt. So in the pre-charge stage, let me take this 0 volt. There is some path for leakage. Okay, so this leakage happens, so this might get reduced to what, this might get, let me reduce, if it has 0.8 somewhere around this thing, so I'll be getting somewhere around 4 volt. This 4 volt has been what, this was not the supposed this thing what I was supposed to get. For logic 0 I was supposed to get 5 volt, but because of this problem, what leakage problem what I'm having, I'm getting 4 volt over here. This is one of the problem what we can face in terms of dynamic logic. Okay, just because of this floating VDD. Now if you look at one more problem, that is cascading problem. Okay, cascading problem in the sense I cannot cascade this particular this thing what I'm having over here. The output of this cannot be cascaded in terms of another circuit. So this output cannot be fed as an input to this particular logic. So why it is going to happen? Okay, let me take a 3 input NAND gate. So here I'm having one NAND gate circuit. Okay, now here I'm having a NAND gate circuit, 2 input NAND gate, and then here also I'm having a 2 input NAND gate. The output of this particular NAND gate has been connected to this particular NAND gate over here. Now if you look at this, what was I was supposed to get, 1 1, I was supposed to get here 0, and then I was supposed to get what output to be 1. Okay, now again we have connected this thing over here in the pre-charge phase. These things will be connected where, this thing will be connected to VDD, so that I'll be having what, I'll be having here 1 or logic 1. And since here at the evaluation phase these particular transistors have been turned on, I'll be getting what, let me in the pre-charge phase. Okay, let me take I'll be drawing these particular things what we are having over here. In terms of blue, let me consider it as pre-charge phase. In the pre-charge phase, I'll be getting this thing should be 1. Okay, when I had applied, and now if I take even this thing also, this was also pre-charged to logic 1. Okay, now if I take in terms of what evaluation phase, let me consider my evaluation phase to be in terms of green. I'll be getting a path over here which is connected to what, which is connected to ground. So I'll be getting what, I'll be getting this particular logic 0. Okay, but this logic 0, what I was supposed to get is I was supposed to get logic 0, but this logic 0 does not go in terms of like this. Okay, this is not the scenario over here. It takes some time to switch from logic 1 to logic 0. This is the problem what we are having over here. Okay, see, whenever it was taking some time in terms of uh, switching, let me take this as 5 volt. Okay, and this 0 volt should be, let me take it as 0 volt. Since it is taking time at this particular instant, let me consider at this particular instant, I might get somewhere around 2.5 volt. Okay, so this 2.5 volt, still it is going to turn on this transistor. This transistor should be what, at this particular scenario when it is logic 0, it should be turned off so that I can get 1 over here. At this particular point, since it is taking time to switch, what I'm having is that I'm turning on this device, and then I'm making this particular device to be what, it is going to be connected to ground. If I'm having a capacitor which was pre-charged to VDD, it gets a path where it can what, where it can discharge to ground. And the in terms of logic 1, if I was supposed to get 5 volt, I might get somewhere around, since it is having discharging point, I might get somewhere around 4.2 or 4.3 volt. Okay, so there is a difference of 0.8 volt if we are going to take in terms of only this much time what we are having, this particular time, switching time. Okay, this is one of the drawback what we are having in terms of what, in terms of cascading problem. That means my logic, it is not going to be same in terms of what, in terms of my this thing. So this is the problem in terms of dynamic logic. One was that leakage or floating point, and then one more is this cascading problem. So in order to overcome this particular problem, they introduced what, they introduced a inverter in between this particular logic. Okay, so this is same as in terms of my dynamic logic. The only thing what we have done is we have included an inverter over here, and then we have included an inverter at the output end. At the both the output ends we have included an inverter. Okay, so they called this particular logic as domino logic. So the problem what we had in dynamic logic, that we have overcome in domino logic. So let us try to understand how actually this is how actually we are going to remove the problem what we had faced, that particular point where we had that a small time where it is actually getting connected to ground, how it was going to reflect in terms of output voltage, where it is going to discharge from 5 volt to 4.2 volt. Okay, so that we are going to see. Now let us consider the same scenario. Let me take in terms of pre-charge phase. Okay, in the pre-charge, let me, I was supposed to get what, I was supposed to get 1 over there. Okay, I have applied 1 over here, so I'll be getting a path which is getting from here, which is getting directly connected to VDD. So this particular this thing is 1, and then again this thing is 1, but the output what we are having over here, this 1 what we are having, but still we are getting 0. So this particular pre-charged value what we are having, it is not going to affect anything on this particular NMOS transistor. It is going to be turned off. Okay, so now if I go and apply this logic 1 in my evaluation phase, now this is going to be turned on, this particular this thing, and then the pull up region is going to be turned off, and then pull down is going to be turned on. So the values what I'll be getting here 0, and then this thing 0 1. So now if you look at this, even though here there might be some delay, okay, there might be some delay in terms of switching, but this delay is not going to affect this particular transistor in order to turn on and then turn off. See, in the previous this thing we were not having this particular inverter. Since we are getting directly connected, the switching from 1 to 0, since here we are having 3 transistors which are connected in series, I might get some delay in order to switch from logic 1 to logic 0. But when it comes to this particular inverter, it is not in terms of any like a domino logic or dynamic logic or anything. So this particular will be in terms of our CMOS logic. Okay, when it comes to CMOS logic, it is always what? It is always restoring logic. That means even though there is some small less voltage at the input end, but still I'll be getting a proper output or the standard output at the output end. So that is why even though I'll be having a logic which is this thing, there might be delay in terms of getting this one, but there won't be any delay in terms of switching. I might get something like this. Okay, I'll be getting like this, but I won't get like this. This delay won't come this particular path. Okay, so this particular path what we are having, this won't happen over here. So this removes what? This removes my unnecessary connection, unnecessary getting connected to where? Unnecessarily getting connected to ground. So that the charge won't be what? It won't get any unnecessary discharging point. But the problem with domino logic is, this domino logic is what? This domino logic is my non-inverting logic. That means here in domino logic, I won't design my NAND gate or NOR gate, something like that. But I'll be able to design what? I'll be able to design my AND gate, OR gate. That means I won't get A dot B whole bar or A plus B whole bar, but at the output end I'll be getting what? I'll be getting A dot B or A plus B. So these are the different logics what we are having over here. Okay, like how again we had looked in terms of pseudo and MOS. Again it is an ratioed logic. So in order to overcome ratioed logic, we had introduced my dynamic logic, but that dynamic logic has also a price, like where I should again I should wait for what I won't be getting cascaded with another circuits. So that might be a problem, and then a floating VDD was also a problem. So in order to overcome that, they introduced a inverter in between the series, and where they had overcome with the problem what we were facing in terms of dynamic logic. So they named it as domino logic, but the domino logic output what we were having, it was a non-inverting logic. That means I'll be getting in terms of AND gate or gate. I won't be getting in terms of NAND or NOR. So these are the different logics what were having. Okay, this is all regarding the different logics. Uh, in the next lecture, we shall look in terms of structured design. So basically, structure generator multiplexers. Okay, so Till then, bye. Thank you.